television highlights of the news of yesteryear. It's 21st of December, 1929, and here's launching of first United States submarine cruiser. Christened by wife of United States Secretary of the Navy Charles V. Adams, she's sent down ways at Portsmouth, New Hampshire. 371 feet long, unique cruiser submarine can maintain herself at sea for months at a time without coming into port for fuel or supplies. She's newest addition to nation's fleet of underwater craft. Big improvement over old-style short-range submarines. Here's the V5, most modern thing afloat, but mere forerunner of even more amazing craft to come. In 1950, here are Navy crews in training for service on snorkel-type submarines, underwater craft of unbelievable range. These films are shown by special permission of the United States Department of Defense. Interior of submarines such as this are maze of mechanisms and mechanical devices, far cry from the crude craft first employed in underwater warfare. Let's have sub's eye view of surface. Not an enemy ship in sight, and you can't sink a continent. Here's breathing tube above the surface as craft cruises speedily and secretly below water. Tough target for enemy surface guns. These Department of Defense films show Navy submarine crews in action simulating warfare. Snorkel sub is in territory invested by ships of imaginary enemy, and observation men have spotted ship by instrument. Location of enemy surface craft has been determined by scientific sounding. Ship is sighted and torpedo is fired. Direct hit. Sub-sighted ship sank sane. With mission accomplished, snorkel sub continues underwater as if in search of other enemies. Here in June of 1950 is the famed USS Pickerel at Pearl Harbor after traveling 5,000 miles from Hong Kong under surface of Pacific every watery mile of the way. Trip took 505 hours, made Navy history. Craft breathed through snorkel or tube all that time, and members of crew showed no ill effect from more than 3 weeks underwater. It's congratulations to the captain and crew, and a world's record for underwater travel for the United States Navy's snorkel sub, Pickerel.
It's 4th of December, 1926, and here in New York City, high school student Harry Luft, 16, shows he has plenty of brawn. And who knows, maybe he's strong on his schoolwork, too. Imagine trying to keep a guy like this in jail. And remember, he's only 16. If he takes good care of himself, he may grow up to be strong. The true test of giant strength. That's a New York City telephone book, but Harry makes a few pocket editions out of it. In San Francisco, another Samson of 1926 shows his stuff with a phone book. Looks as if he's left his strength in his other suit. Well, he ripped it a little anyway.
It's January 1926. And Benito Mussolini's government is so determined to pay Italy's war debt that every Italian with a dollar to his name is giving it to fund to reduce level of Italian war loan from the United States. If you can read Italian, you know Benito wants that dollar from you every year. banks get more deposits than withdrawals while Mussolini's plan is in force. Years later, Mussolini had another big idea, only it cost his people a lot more than $1.
Here in December 1925 is ex-Secretary of the Treasury William Gibbs McAdoo. Son-in-law of the late President Woodrow Wilson, McAdoo helps hang first of 6,024 sheet posters, which will be erected from coast to coast in behalf of Near East relief. Great American statesman of the teens and early 20s, McAdoo was once figure known and respected around the world.
Returning from European vacation, here's Alma Gluck in 1920. She's back in States to resume concert tour of the nation. Once a great operatic soprano, she quit theater to confine herself to concert stage. In 1914, she married the violin virtuoso Zimbalist, Alma Gluck.
Here with his wife is the small-town boy who made good. He's Charles Ray, and he was the country bumpkin who made the grade to success in so many silent movies that in 1920, he's in New York, success in real life, too.
It's 26th of January, 1927, and here in Kentucky are results of rampaging rivers. Sudden rise in temperature causes snows and uplands to melt. This causes rivers to rise and overflow their banks. Down by the Ohio in Newport, they're up to their porches in cold water. Maybe she thinks her home is on pontoons. Well, doing the Charleston is one way to keep warm. Flood victims are carried to higher and drier ground by every means. Some even had to swim.
It's August 1925, and gay Paris is more festive than ever. Capital of France is host to gala fair. And Eiffel Tower isn't spectacular enough the way Monsieur Eiffel built it, so it gets lights. And here's what the famous French landmark looked like at night. On New York's Broadway, this would hardly be noticed, but this is Paris. And come to think of it, this is a dazzling display of anybody's Mazda for 1925.
It's July 1925, and on waters of Culver Lake, New Jersey, is what purports to be the world's only floating church. When you come to these Sunday services, you don't choose your pew, you pick your canoe and paddle yourself up to the pulpit. With sermon over, Reverend moves to next congregation by starting engine under rostrum, and off goes the raft to bring smoother sailing to people of a world of stormy seas. Here in the early 1920s, a policeman, nightstick and all, rides wing of airplane to catch and wave down flyer who's broken some traffic law of the sky. The guilty pilot reluctantly pulls down to Durant Field at Oakland, California, and from looks of things, from here on, he's going to get more than a ticket. This was in the early 20s, and he's probably still in jail.
Fashions among the flowers. It's March 1926, and New York City is having a flower show. But among the blooms are some of the beauties of the time, dazzling as daisies. In case you missed a look at one of the best-dressed beauties of the early 20s, here's another look at her. Had enough? Well, here's a bouquet of American Beauty roses. The two girls look as if they borrowed their father's shirts. These are called Coolidge roses. Coolidge didn't run for president in 28, but she could run for Miss America in 1926.
It's March 1927, and here's the world's champion woodchopper, Pete McClaren of Australia. The man who went to Holland to teach Wilhelm, the Kaiser in exile, how to cut wood, is giving demonstration of his ability in Boston. This is really letting the chips fall where they may. Let's have a look at the champ in slow motion. One whack and it looks as if McClaren has chopped enough wood to last all winter. Pete McClaren of Australia, chop off the old block. At Lexington, it's October 1925, time for the 33rd annual running of the Kentucky Futurity. Rounding the first turn in the last heat, Aileen Guy already has one win to her credit, and Ben White's great stepper looks as if this might be another victory. The crowd gets thrill of the day as Aileen Guy trots to triumph, and for the victor, purse of $14,000.